right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Another Bourbon Show. Tonight we are going to be drinking something that I, again, have not tried yet. I've had the bottle for quite a while, but I have not had any of it yet, and I'm really looking forward to it because I've heard great things about it. But before we do anything else,
Well, what are we
Steven?
drinking? You didn't even say what we're fucking drinking yet.
Oh, we're drinking Penelope, the 80 proof 4 grain. Penelope 80 proof 4 grain. This is a sourced MGP product. A couple folks, rich folks out in New Jersey, decided to start bottling their own shit. Sourced it from MGP. The mash bill is somewhat unknown. It's a fairly new product. I will say she, hers, and they, theirs really seem to like it a lot from what I've heard, from what I've seen. And it's $45-50 for a bottle. So that's Penelope.
You would never know we were pro women's rights, pro trans, LGBTQ, whatever rights. If you turn into this episode and you're just like, oh, these guys are probably kind of like edgy little guys here.
Well, I mean, I used very gender conformative language just there.
Yeah, I'm sure they all loved that. I'm sure they loved that segment, Dan.
You mean she, hers, and they, theirs?
Mm-hmm.
Come
all right,
on.
I'm going to talk about the label before we get
I think you should. I think you are ruining...
I'm not going to be the bad guy here, okay?
Well, you are the bad guy.
I refuse.
On this one, you are the bad guy.
All right, well, I was just... Keep in mind, I was looking out for you guys out there. By you guys, I mean literally every pronoun.
That's one of those times you should wish that you were like raised in Texas like I was, because I would just say y'all.
Y'all is a good one. Y'all is a really fucking good one.
It is.
So this label, one thing I'll say right off the bat is your label looks a little bit different than some of the other labels. Like there seems to be several different labels.
This is a newer label.
Okay. So I'll say that the newer label that you've got, I like a little bit less than the one that I'm seeing online. I think that the one that I'm seeing has like a solid gold, like bold, sort of matte finish gold P that's in the middle. Whereas I feel like that one with like those little like silver or white accents that going through it, I feel like that looks a little more like cheap or looks a little more uncool than the one I was looking at. But I think one thing that makes their labels that sets them a little bit apart is that they put a design behind the P.
Mm-hmm.
I think that like my issue with a lot of like bourbon that's too plain is I'm just like,
it's a flower, by the way.
Yeah. So like they'll put like a flower, some sort of a design period behind the P is more than some makers do, and I feel like that's the downfall. Sometimes it's way too simple.
Yeah.
But I feel like because there's a design back there, instead of being simple, it becomes just sort of elegant, right? Okay. Which is kind of, I think, the look and approach that they're going for.
You like an elegant P.
Oh, yeah.
You don't like just the basic P.
And so for that reason, I think it looks good. I do think it looks good, but I don't think it's like in the upper echelon. But that said, I'm going to give it a 7. I think it's a very solid score. I think it's a solid label. It looks nice. Overall, I think the bottle looks elegant. It looks maybe more like what we typically think of wine, especially with the bottle in conjunction with that. But
yeah,
I like it. Yeah.
Okay. I was just going to say it looks like a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
It's got shades of a wine bottle through and through.
So based on the color, what would that be in wine?
I mean, just talking.
Zeke. God damn it, Zeke. You dumb big motherfucker. Get out. Go.
He just ate the hedgehog, dude.
Yeah. The hedgehog is gone.
Fucking 90-pound puppy.
Oh, I mean, if you got a bottle of wine this color, you probably want to return it.
Okay.
You're not going to see, many things this color. Maybe outside like a porter or sherry or something would be close to it. But just like just the label, it looks like the bottle too. It's tall and skinny. It just looks like a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Like you could put some Cabernet in there, and I'd be like, oh yeah, it's a California Cabernet.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
feel like without knowing anything about this, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it's like you. Well, I guess you've already kind of spoiled this, but you said it does well with certain markets, and I feel like the wine crowd would like this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The stereotypical wine drinking crowd would
Hmm.
probably like this because it does have that look, and I I do think it stands out on the shelf. That's why I give it a little better rating here. I do think it
Hmm.
stands on the shelf and pops with the the colors that it uses. It uses a lot of the same colors as one of the Uncle Nearest, the
Hmm.
like lower shelf Uncle
The
Nearest.
1884. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that one pops on the shelf as well with all that white and gold.
And on the back here, I'm just seeing for the first time that it says it's aged a minimum of 33 months in oak barrels. So it's a young whiskey. It's a young bourbon. But what do you say? We want to jump in?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Might
Cheers.
be the lightest whiskey we've ever done. I mean, I know we have yellow corn, but bourbon wise,
Yellow corn.
or mellow corn, excuse me, yellow corn.
The Brothers Bond is more pale.
I was just gonna say the Brothers Bond probably similar in color too.
Yeah.
That makes sense though because they're both um, very low proof bourbons.
Both 80 proof. Yep.
On the nose, I feel like it smells very light, but it's
Yeah.
pleasant. And I think it smells sort of like a Tennessee whiskey. I think I tend to say this anytime it's like a lighter note or whatever, but it smells like almost like a Jack Honey or something like that to me.
Hmm. It's got a very pleasant nose. I like that.
I
The
mean,
nose a lot.
very vanilla-y, I feel like
Yeah.
sweet, like a green apple
I was just
smell
about
to
to
it
say
too.
apple. I was
Yeah.
just about to say green apple. Yep.
It smells like the label looks. It's very,
Mm-hmm.
very sort of feminine.
I did like look this up before we came on. Do they have anything on that bottle that says like it's a low calorie bourbon or anything like that?
Not. I know it's
Because this,
exactly what you're
yeah,
talking about. Named after. No, there's
no,
nothing on the bottle, but I know exactly. Go ahead and say what you were going to say because I know
yeah,
exactly
just
what.
this is the whole segment, and you're gonna see this in stores for the next few years. It's better for you section of alcohol in grocery stores and liquor stores where you'll see like this wine's under 100 calories. It's fit, for the runner, for the, marathon runner or the person who's, conscious about their health and all that. So
For
you
the
see that with
drinker on the
seltz
go.
for the, yeah, exactly. So you're going to,
Do
you
not
see it in
drink and
wine.
drive.
Yeah. But, at the end of the day too, and I get it, you want a healthier option, but it is also alcohol. So always keep that in mind. But you kind of saw seltzers leading the way on that. And there were even some like low cal IPAs like 5 years ago that were kind of popular. So this has been a trend slowly coming for a while now. And I imagine you'll see a lot of whiskey, rum, vodka companies. Tito's is one of the first who said they're gluten free. And that's part of the reason why they're so big today. It's a huge segment of people who, you know, think they're healthy while they're drinking. It's kind of an oxymoron, but if it makes you feel better, I'm not going to tell you to not do it.
Yeah. And since Ryan gave all that but didn't go into the thing about Penelope, it's less than 100 calories per pour. Is there like that's what they're saying. It's less than 100 calories per pour. But I don't know how big that pour is either. I don't know if that means a 1 ounce pour, 2 ounce pour, half a bottle, fuck, I don't know. Can gluten make it through the distillation process?
I I mean, I believe. I mean, that I don't know. I thought at least with vodka, mostly every vodka is gluten free, right? But I guess it just what it's distilled from. Um, Tito's is a corn vodka, so you see things like Svedka is made of grapes. Chopin is made of potatoes. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well, I mean, yeah, you can make vodka out of any cereal grain.
yeah,
The big ones are typically corn and potatoes, probably.
Yeah, and grapes too. Svedka is a grape vodka. I think Sky might be.
Okay.
Corn is like Tito's and Kettle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then
Seems like the
Wheatley's
high.
Wheat, of course.
I feel like the grape or vodkas are usually on the cheaper side of the vodka segment. I mean, I'm sure there's some high tier ones too, but you'll see a lot of great vodkas under $10. So
Okay.
that give you worse hangovers. I feel like. Be careful.
So the only thing I can find is from University of Chicago Medicine is that bourbon and whiskey, rye and barleys are considered to be safe. For, like they're essentially gluten free, no matter what it is you're making your liquor out of.
Yeah.
So Tito's claiming to be gluten free. That's like saying this is gluten free beef. Like, yeah, of course, well, it is. It's
Well, they were like the first ones to put it on a bottle, which I guess is good marketing on their part.
Yeah, good for them.
Because I remember our buddy Nolan had a gluten allergy for a couple. It seems to mysteriously vanished because he drinks a lot of beer. So I don't really know what's going on there, but he's like, oh man, every time I drink beer now, my throat feels like it's closing. Well, apparently he had some gluten allergy that he got over because he could drink.
I don't know how much you guys have gotten to drink so far this, but
I had one sip.
I feel like there's some weird quality to this where it's like a weird aftertaste or something where like I feel like it's a pretty light, especially because it's 80 proof. It's a very light sort of like vapid experience, sort of Jim Beam-esque, but at the end I feel like there's kind of like an unpleasant aftertaste that makes this have like more bite or something to me.
Very like peppery at the back. Maybe it's a higher rye bourbon. I don't know. I get that like I definitely because when you drink it, you don't get anything. I feel like I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's very easy to drink, and then 5 seconds later, you start to get a tingle back there.
I almost have like a liqueur taste in my mouth after a few seconds of not drinking it. Like just let a few seconds go by, or let like maybe like 2 minutes go by. There's something in my mouth that's almost like you'll get way later after drinking like a liqueur or something. I can't explain it. Like it's almost like there was or like a vermouth or something. Like there's an herbal aftertaste.
I get like a musty flavor like on the back end. But that's like 5 seconds after I've swallowed it. But that's just me. I'm not saying that you're wrong, Steven, by any means. But for me, I'm not picking up on anything that's just like ew. I'm picking up on a whole lot of meh. Yeah, like I prefer this slightly over Brothers Bond. Like just marginally.
What's the price on this?
40 something.
$45, I think.
Yeah, 40 or 45. Looks like you can actually pick it up online. Like there's some $33, $34 prices out there too. But I think that the SRP is supposed to be 40 something. Yeah, SRP is supposed to be 40.
It's just justifiably hard to pay over $40 for an 80 proof whiskey.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
that's going to come up every time we do an 80 proof whiskey that's out of a small distillery, I feel like, or smallish.
You see like Jack Daniels at 80 proof though, and like there's a burn, you know what I mean? Like you actually get some flavor out of it, you know what I mean? Like I feel like this is just so watered down that aside from like the green apple caramel vanilla, I don't get too much out of it.
Yeah, I mean there's some pleasant flavors to it, I feel. It's not all bad. I'm not trying to like slam it here, but I am saying that the finish is short. The palate is weak. While the whiskey is in my mouth, I think it tastes pretty good. Like while it's in my mouth.
Yeah, there's definitely good things here. I feel like when we try, because next week we're trying one of the higher tiered Penelopes.
Yeah.
I feel hopefully they're able to, push the boundaries on some of those tastes we were picking up.
Yeah, so they say on the bottle it says aromas of sweet buttercream. Yeah, I can see that. Fresh apples. Yeah, I can smell that. Married with layers of nutmeg and allspice. I don't get a lot of that. They say the palate is a creamy, sweet dance of almonds and vanilla bean. I get a little bit of vanilla. I don't get almonds. That finishes with hints of toasted macadamia nuts and a subtle kiss of tangerine citrus.
Is that the kick you got, dude? Tangerine citrus?
If it was it'd be such a subtle kiss. It'd be like a Matt Lauer "I'm Not Conscious" kiss. If there's a kiss of it in there, because I'm not picking up any tangerine. I think I do get a little bit of almond, maybe.
I don't get almond. And I know I've had a macadamia nut before, but I don't know when the last time it was.
I've
So
only
I
had
don't
it
remember
in
what a
cookies.
goddamn. What's that?
I've only had macadamia nut cookies, so I feel like I don't know where the macadamia nut starts and the cookie begins to separate
yeah.
those
I feel like
flavors.
I've never eaten a macadamia nut or a cookie with that in it.
That doesn't surprise me even a little bit.
Hey, if you're listening, Connor, I know you're the nut guy, but yeah, I'm not trying that either. So whatever, dude. I'll stick to kiwi.
Got a big kiwi guy here now.
Dude, I eat kiwi like all the time now.
Do you?
Yeah, my wife packs it in my lunchbox.
They're really good, man. I'm
they
so
are.
glad.
They are awesome. I don't know what I was thinking.
I don't either.
Like, what was I doing?
Wasting your life.
Eating McChickens and throwing them into my defroster. Have we ever talked about that story in this?
I don't know if we have or not. But basically, Ryan called me I can summarize it very quickly. Ryan called me one night in college and was in the middle of weighing the option of whether or not to bust out his windshield in his car and take it into the mechanic because he thought it'd be less embarrassing to have a windshield replaced than to have to take it in its current configuration, which is there is a McChicken stuck in his defroster. Because about 40 minutes prior or something like that, he had gotten a McChicken from McDonald's that was not the correct order. It was not.
No cheese on it.
There was no cheese.
Those sons of bitches.
I can't even eat this. He throws it onto the dashboard of his Saturn Vue, to which it immediately wedges itself inside his defroster.
The windshield, like the glass, is like literally at an angle, and anything that got into the defroster, it wasn't coming out because just the angle of it. There was no way I could pry it out. There was not. I didn't even take it anywhere. I think I just let it erode.
It's still
I
in there.
have no idea. I got rid of that car. That car is gone. But I remember I was having a shitty day. I think I was hungover. I was starving. I'm like, McChicken with cheese. Well, I get it. Open up to eat. There's no cheese. I didn't even close the wrapping all the way. I just went and threw it, and then it slid out of the wrapper, went into the defroster.
What do you mean you let it erode inside there? Is that even the correct word to use?
No.
I don't.
And to this day, if somebody did fish that McChicken, if somebody did fish that McChicken out with a coat hanger or something like that,
it's still the same.
It was I guarantee they could still eat the motherfucker.
Yeah.
There would be no telling the difference.
My biggest issue, I almost went to Taco Bell. But I'm like, this Taco Bell always gets orders wrong. Always. So I'm just going to the McDonald's.
Wait, did you go to the gas station?
The Gas Donald's. That's what I was
Gas
about to ask.
It was the Gas Donald's was terrible.
That's the reason I asked.
If he went to the Gas Donald's, he'd still be waiting for that order to this day.
I'd still be in line. No, I went to the one over by the Pantera's Pizza.
Okay.
And
I mean, because that one normally does well. That one normally does well.
So I'm like, this Taco Bell sucks. I mean, the Taco Bell got better as the years went on in college. Like, I feel like all Taco Bells are have stepped up their game by far.
Oh, 100%.
But I was so mad. And I'm like, I don't know what to do, dude. If I go home, my dad sees this and goes, why is there a McChicken in your windshield, in your defroster? I'm like, what am I gonna do?
So let me just kick out the windshield.
I hated that. I put that car through hell, man. Because remember I left the frozen chicken in the trunk for like 4 days. I'm like, man, I must be ripping some mean farts in here. and then her buddy found it and threw up in the porta potty next to where I parked. Oh man, that poor car. That thing got like 10 miles a gallon. I hated that car.
We drove it through like basically a tornado one night as well. And you're just like, oh boy, there's nothing like a Saturn in a fucking windstorm.
Yeah.
The entire body's like flexing it down the road. That was a great car, dude. Then you rented a Prius for a weekend, and we lived like kings for a weekend. This is a 4 grain, so I don't know if this is a fair comparison, but I'm looking at Lee Sinclair right now, which is 20 proof higher. But just as an example of what you can get out of that extra 20 proof, I mean, I think all of us here would prefer and would recommend that the person who would typically listen to our podcast probably just spend the extra money, like 65 some bucks, get the Lee Sinclair instead and go that extra proof higher. Just because it's really hard to recommend Penelope, even if we are overall saying pretty positive stuff about it in general. It's just, it's tough to recommend low proof stuff that's not Michter's, you know?
Yeah. And like, this is one of those situations where the proof is reflective of the flavor that you get, which, let's be honest, is the standard. That is most common. Yeah. That higher proof equals additional flavors, more complexity. Michter's is the outlier when it comes to that. And there's a couple others too, but this one fits right into the standard. So
let's say that you're looking for something though, just for the sake of being fair to this and not just repeating that over and over again. Let's say you're in the market for an 80 proof whiskey. You're in the market for something low proof just to have to like slam back with friends. Would Penelope be on your radar in that sense?
No.
I'd be Jack, Benchmark, Jim Beam, because it's twice,
because of the price.
Twice the price, yeah.
And more flavors. You're getting more whiskey bourbon flavor. The only way, and this is similar, I think, to the Brothers Bond episode, the only way I could see myself recommending this specific bottle is if it was somebody who is brand new to bourbon, like a true starter bourbon. And this is still not a very good representation, in my opinion, as a starter bourbon.
Yeah.
Like, it's got some of the bourbon flavors, it's got some whiskey flavors to it, but there are better representatives that are less expensive, that are still not overwhelmingly powerful.
Yeah.
That's my sense of it. So no. I can't imagine a situation where I recommend this particular bottle. At all. Ever.
Yeah, I don't think I would either.
Now,
it's too hard, man. It's too hard to justify it.
Yeah, for the price and what you're getting, and it's a pretty bottle, but
yeah, I'm seriously, I'm not saying much because I'm racking my brain to try to think of a reason to recommend this. Like, especially on the heels of what you were saying, Dan, like maybe if you were new to whiskey, but even then it's hard. Like, I can't think of a single scenario either where I would recommend this. And I think what that says is like, you really have to do something super unique at 80 proof at this price to be recommended.
I'll go first unless somebody else wants to.
No, go ahead.
4.7.
That was pretty quick.
4.7. It's I like Jim Beam White Label better. Um, I think that even if the price was the same, I would still prefer a pour of Jim Beam White Label, even if this was 14, 15 bucks. I think I would just prefer to have a pour of Jim Beam White. So, I'll be honest with you. I don't have anything else to say about it. That's where I end.
Well, I'll say 5.2 because I think I do like it a smidge more than Jim Beam White Label. Although I think any given night I could flip flop on that just from a taste alone, and so I want the score to reflect that.
Mhm.
But I would recommend it way less than Jim Beam White Label at the same time.
Mhm.
But that's my overall score on it. I'd be curious with their other, just like with Brothers Bond, if you were putting another one of the offerings in front of me from Penelope, which it sounds like next week is what we're doing, then I would be open to it. I'd be interested in it. But I think, hey, there's the cat. But I just don't know that it. I'm racking my brain over here to try to recommend it to somebody, and I can't come up with anyone. So that says a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think another 80 proof that we just drank, the Brothers Bond, had a little more to it. They're both, they're both pretty similar. I mean, it's very light. It's not aged very long. What, 33 months? Is that what you said?
33
So,
months, yep.
so it's not even 3 years old. I wouldn't recommend someone paying $40 for it. And kind of piggyback off what Steven said. I like it a little more than Jim Beam, but I wouldn't recommend someone paying the price for this. If you got a bottle of Eagle Rare for $40 sitting there, 30 or 35 bucks, sometimes you could find, you got to buy the Eagle Rare every time. I mean, or Benchmark, if you can't find Buffalo Trace and you see this and you see Benchmark, a 1.75 of Benchmark's like $21.99.
Mhm.
I'm going to go slightly over a 5.1. And yeah, it's just, it's not the worst thing I've ever drank. It's easy to drink. I mean, you pour a glass in front of me and I could sip it like water, but I want more than that. And I don't care about the calories per pour. Doesn't matter to me. If there's more calories in it because it tastes better, then put more calories in it.
I'll
However you make
also.
calories, I have no idea, but do it.
I'll add that if people out there listening have a preference for Penelope, if you like it, I'm super curious why. I just want to hear.
If you like this one.
Yeah, Penelope Four Grain. Yeah. What we're drinking right now, what we're scoring, what we can't find a way to recommend to people. If you actually do like it, if you would recommend it, I'm just curious why. If it's anything beyond like flavor, if anything, it's beyond like purely subjectivity there. Maybe there is people that really are drawn to this and think they've never had anything like this before. Now, that's none of us, but if that's one thing, I'd accept that. But I'm genuinely curious what the pitch is from anybody who doesn't work for Penelope.
One thing that I just thought of that I could see that I could make a recommendation for this particular bottle for. And this is serious. I'm not joking around. I'm not going to make a joke here. I could, honest to God, recommend this to somebody who has their own mini barrel and is considering doing their own aging in that mini barrel with like something else having been in there before to finish it. Because like you both said, there is a smoothness to it. It is smooth. It's got some decent flavors to it, but I do think that it's got plenty of room in it to be aged more, and the flavors that it does have, I think that it's got some ability to absorb something from, like, if you put some port in it beforehand, I think that this could be really good. I think that if you put a spiced rum in the mini cask before and then put this in there for a little while, that could be really good. That's one way I could recommend it.
Another bourbon show.
Okay, so I feel like a huge fucking dirtbag right now because Steven, you got engaged.
That's true.
And we didn't even fucking talk about it.
That's true.
We
That's
didn't
okay.
even fucking make mention of the fact that you finally got off your ass and proposed to the woman who you took to my wedding 7 years ago.
Which
as
is
your date.
which to be fair, like let's also be clear, that's like right when we were like starting dating too.
But you had been
Which
dating
is still
for
a long
like
time,
a
but yeah.
few months by that time.
Yeah, but the way you said that, you're like, you took her to my wedding 7 years ago. It's like, yeah, that's also when it got started. It wasn't like we were dating for like 12 years, you know. Just
No,
7.
but you've been dating for 7+ years.
Yep.
Probably close to 8 years.
Yeah, getting close to 8. Yep.
And you finally proposed.
Yep.
So congratulations, first of all.
Thanks.
High time, dude.
Yeah, seriously, high time. But
yeah, I proposed at the exact right time for us, and that's all.
That's all that matters. That's
Yeah.
all that matters.
I obsessed over like the ring I was gonna get and what it would look like and everything, and then all to find out what I hoped was true all along, which is 1, it doesn't matter, and 2, I've heard nothing but it's beautiful, she loves it, all that kind of stuff. So even if it's not true, I'll probably never fucking know. You know what I mean? So
Until the divorce, then you will.
yeah, it turns out if you have the right one, all that shit is just superfluous anyway.
Yeah. So you didn't have the ring yet?
No, it kept getting delayed actually. So I got
Okay.
it from like Shaneco, and there was like issues with like the jeweler that's working, like something with the hours that they were doing or something like that, or some like they were still working around like COVID restrictions or something like that. They were like backlogged or something, maybe a time of year. Either way, like it was. So I'm a very anxious person, as you guys know, and I had like purchased it, and then like it was like basically ended up being like about 2 weeks worth of time. And so like the first like week and a half, I said nothing. And then finally with like, I didn't know this, but it ultimately ended up being like 3 days later or something, I was finally getting it. But it was like on it was like two Sundays ago. I just like basically told her like I had bought her the ring, and I was just like, I just want to marry you so damn bad, blah, blah, blah. But like the ring keeps getting delayed essentially.
Mhm.
And that was like sort of the proposal, but not officially. But like at that point, she said she would marry me and everything. But we would wait to announce it, and then I didn't tell her when it finally came in. I held that from her, and then like actually sort of like proposed when she came home one night, and I had the ring at that point, and that's when we announced it to everybody.
Okay, gotcha.
You did
Now,
better than me because I left the box that the jewelry box came in. I just left it on our kitchen table, and
Circle yes, circle no.
she didn't tell me until like after the proposal. Like, you left that on the table, and I saw it. Right, I'm like, oh.
You were just letting it erode away from
Like the Saturn II, yeah.